And we can begin. So, welcome to Model Monday. Today, we've gone off the rails, or we've gone off the wheels. There are no wheels on this cart. There is only unconventional locomotion on this cart. So it's part 2, combat robot, and we called an audible before we started class, and we are going to attempt to model shuffling locomotion. So we've all gone onto the internet and we found this wonderful picture by this great blog, absolutechaosrobotics.wordpress.com. This looks like a wonderful blog that I will totally read later. But for now, we're just going to use their pretty pictures in order to, what for modeling off of. So, let's go ahead and start a new design. I'm going to go ahead and click on the new design button in my tabs up there at the top. Excuse me, thirsty. And I am going to start right off the bat by importing that image. So if you didn't know, you can import a picture and kind of draw on top of it. This is really handy when you don't know what you're doing, which is often me. I don't know what I'm doing. So,
steal ideas.
Or if you steal
reverse engineering.
Steal from one person, it's plagiarism. Steal from 1,000, it's research. So now we just have to do this drawing a lot more times. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click on Insert, and then we're going to click on Canvas. And I'm going to choose to insert from my computer. You're going to want to insert from your computer, not from my computer. You will have a hard time inserting from my computer.
An easy time would be cost
Yes,
worry.
exactly. Yes, you are not invited next week if you had an easy time accessing a file on my computer.
Sounding very X-rated, Carl.
And all I have to do is pick a face in which I can put this image on. I'm going to pick the right face. I'm going to draw on the right side because we're drawing the side of this thing.
Make sure
And
it works.
once you click a face here, you'll see a tiny little image pop up here. We're going to scale this appropriately later, but for now, just drag it a couple of times. You can click on there's a little widget here, and it's the little curved section that is in between the two perpendicular lines that we want to click and drag on in order to scale it.
It isn't letting me click on a face.
And you just want to scale it up to a size that is visible.
Decal?
Easily visible. Canvas.
Gotcha.
Yeah, insert canvas. Decal is similar-ish. You can pick an image, but decal you put on top of a surface. So you could put a decal on a already model body you've got in there already.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, and then again, the distance and the angle and the scale, we're not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and click on OK once I can see it visibly there. Once my canvas is out there, you'll notice I got a canvases folder. This is the one kind of thing you don't need to rename because it just names it the image that you brought in. So you can rename it if you'd like to, but I'm going to go ahead and click on the navigation cube. Just click on the right side, just so I'm looking at the canvas kind of straight on. And now, in my canvases folder, if I right-click on the canvas that I've placed, I can choose this calibrate option. And what calibrate lets us do is to define a scale for our image here. So if I was going to say, hey, maybe I want to base it on the pin size here. I want to make this pin size something that's easy. Of course, I can always draw this to be whatever size. I think I'm going to base it on the distance that we got going on here from top to bottom of one of these cams. So this inside cam here, the one that's low, I'm going to base it on that one. So to use this measurement, you just have to click on the bottom and then click on the top of this little cam here, and then it'll place a measurement for me. This is by far not a precise way of doing things, but it'll get us ballpark close. And then when we start drawing lines on top of this, we can change this measurement. And I'm gonna make this like 3 inches. Seems like a good number-ish. Yeah, like 3 inches.
Pixels.
Yes, you can see the pixels now, yeah. All right, cool, scaled up? Scaled up, all right, beautiful. So now we can create a sketch. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on create, and then create sketch. I'm gonna start with, I think it would be helpful to have a center line right away. It'll allow us to locate a couple of these pins right off the bat, and all these circles we can locate like on a center line. So I'm gonna create, oh boy, finish form, don't do that. I'm gonna click on create, and I'm gonna create a sketch. I'm gonna create my sketch on the same plane that I put my canvas on. And now I'm just going to draw a line. So I'll click on create and then line. And I'm just going to draw a line right down, top to bottom. My line is going to be 3 inches long because that is the scale that I kind of chose. This is how we can turn an imprecise scale into precise measurements, by kind of defining our line distance here very precisely. And now I'm just going to kind of start tracing over some of these items here. So I'm going to grab my circle tool. I'll make a center diameter circle here. And I think a center diameter circle will work for a bunch of these. You know, here there's another option too. I suppose you could also choose to make a 2-point circle for some of these, but I'm going to choose a center diameter circle. It makes sense to me that this cam would not be right in the middle of my line. That does make sense. All right, so my circle for the rotational part here is not going to be in the middle. And yeah.
You sure it's not the slot that pushes the action?
No, I think it's this cam that,
Because the cam has that little, I think it's the center of the center of that circle.
Well, then it won't go. It won't change length. We definitely want it to change length when it's in a different spot. Let's roll with this. We can always change it later.
Cool.
Yeah. I made mine 8 millimeters. A, because that seemed like it was pretty close to the size that it is right there. And B, because it's easy to find an 8 millimeter bolt that I can stick through and have that be the rigid part there of our cam. And now let's go ahead and make this other circle probably is centered. That's my guess here. So if I make another center diameter circle, where's my center line?
For the first circle, you use a 2-point circle or what?
I know I used a center diameter circle there too.
Oh, the line.
Yeah, I guess this one is not centered either. This, at least it doesn't appear to be centered. And It's about, it's roughly an inch. I made a circle that's roughly an inch there. And then I'm going to make my two other circles here. These, I think, ride on pins. So the circle up here and the circle down here, I think, ride on a pin rides in between there. It's more of a slot that we have to make.
Is that circle on our first layer though? Because this looks like this is like 4, 5, 6 feet.
Yes, it looks. Yeah, I think there's several feet here. I think we're just going to focus on this one in the front here, and then hopefully we'll be able to duplicate and then rotate. Yeah, hopefully. All right, and then so I guess we only have to do. We should know where this circle is because it's got to fit inside of this oval. So I'm going to make both circles. And this circle is, it looks like it's about 6 millimeters. So I'll make a 6 millimeter circle up there. I wonder, let me just do a little experiment here. I'm curious
Try
if...
a 2-point circle, Carl, I just did it. And aligning the center line is where the error is coming from. Everything on mine is aligned after using a 2-point circle. My 3 circles align.
Carl?
Yeah.
It looks like the bottom of the bottom of the leg we're looking at is an oval slot,
Yeah.
and the top part of the leg there is an ellipse that limits the travel of that pin.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to have our pin in there.
Right, you have the
and
pin,
then-
but you also have to have that oval.
Yeah, I'll do
thing
that
in
oval
there.
for sure. Yeah.
Ah.
But I'm curious if these circles are equidistant from the center of the line,
I think
perhaps.
so. I
Is,
think
you have a video
big
of that
circle.
thing.
Yeah, so Carl, what happens
Or
is
yeah.
this whole diameter here moves. This is the cam,
Right.
and this is your axle of that cam.
Correct. Yeah.
And then these slots, this is for the top slot and that's for the bottom slot.
So
Or
I'm
for this
wondering
is
if
this is a slot for
this is
this
gonna be-
front one. So all 3 of these, I think, need to be aligned.
It's not really on the center. Yeah, I don't know what they're.
Oh, the bottom of that should be on the center point then too.
Well, I was curious if there was going to be like some sort of spacing that we could figure out. Some sort of spacing that we could figure out there. But I guess we're just going
You
to.
can just do a 2-point circle for the top slot and the for the pin in the top and the bottom, and then connect the once you have those 2 circles.
Well, if even in center, I can shift it up and down
Yeah.
because it's not defined.
And just use a line to connect those 2 circles and build off that line.
Yeah, and then I just need another circle down here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then connect those 2.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up there. I mirrored it and it didn't line up.
Yeah, I thought maybe like if I mirrored this top circle over some point here, it would end up in the right position there, and then I would have a lot more confidence that those pins are in the right spot.
So,
Maybe it's the center of this circle.
wait, is it did that
Could
one?
be the
I
center of
think
this
that's
circle.
the one. I think it's
Yeah.
centered from there. That's what
I
it
think
looks
so.
like.
That's your center of the world.
Let's try that. If I just draw a line there, and I mirror this circle, this is why I try to draw things beforehand. That I feel like is a better spot.
Yeah.
If I have it at the bottom, then I just need to draw where the top of the travel is.
You went from the inside of those two circles? Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I went from the center of the large circle. Which who knows how precisely that's drawn. But, like I said, we'll get pretty close. Alright, so I'm going to turn off my canvas right now. And I've drawn a lot of things in millimeters. So I'm going to change my active units to millimeters here. Just so these numbers, if you're following along here, if I drag them out so they're more legible and you can see them. That's where I'm at so far in my foot. Let me just kind of walk around and see where you guys are at and tracing your lines here.
So those two circles, is that the two circles for the slot? Is that what you're
Yes,
doing?
correct. Yeah, I just haven't connected those two circles yet. How you doing?
Great. Let's see.
You're moving in that direction.
Yeah, I accidentally mirrored across this line, so I just put both circles
Yeah,
in the
that's
same
all right.
spot. How do I?
So, if you want to put that circle right on that line, I can show you a trick to do
Well,
that.
the idea was gonna move it down to the bottom, right? I just screwed it up.
Oh, well, you could just click and drag on it if you just need to move it down to the bottom. You should be able to just click and drag on it.
Okay, that's moving forward.
Oh. So zoom into there. There, see that icon that's appearing there?
Yeah, this
If
one.
you click on that, and so that is a constraint. I believe that is a mirror constraint. If you hit the delete key, now you should be able to move them independently of each other.
Is that- Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool. You can always delete and redraw too. So that's always an option.
It looks like.
Cool. Yeah, so this is that funky shape that we're going for.
Hid then our initial.
I did. I just hid the canvas just so it's easier to see the lines that I had drawn so far, so you guys could, so we make sure we're on the same page here.
Except I think I lost something in the process. Let's see. Where are you? Can I borrow your eyes?
Yeah, sure.
I may have extra. This should be the two dots from the line. I'm
Yeah,
not sure what
right.
this is.
That might be an extra center point from a circle.
I lost my other circle.
That's all right.
So, alright, so how do I, let's go, here's my circle. Create mirror.
So we first have to, we'll have to draw a line
Okay.
to mirror it over. So if you grab from your create menu the line tool, and then I made my line from the center point of my large circle, just drew it straight out. There we go.
Okay.
And now if you,
How do I make that stop?
you can hit the checkbox that's somewhere, or you can hit the escape key. The escape key. Yeah.
Okay.
So just as a
Yeah.
extra here, if you click on the line, you can change the line type to be a construction line, and that'll make it a dashed line. So dashed lines don't like break up your surface. So if you're extruding something that's got a line that goes across it, you have to click on both halves. If it's got a construction line across it, it doesn't divide up that thing.
Okay.
So
So
it's
is
just
that,
kind of
was I
layers.
supposed to have done for this one then?
Nope.
Was this
Oh,
that
we
thing?
could. We certainly could. I just didn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's probably a good idea. We probably should make our big center line a construction line. Good call.
Except it doesn't want to. Why don't
We
they
have more
want
than
to?
one thing selected. I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't want to. But anyway, so now that you've got that line drawn,
Yeah.
now you can use your mirror tool.
Alright.
would try to pick on the edge of the circle as opposed to the middle of it. Because you can just mirror the center point of a circle as opposed to the outside ring.
So you're saying you go for the outside?
I would go for the outside ring, yeah.
Okay.
Because when you do the outside ring, you actually get both.
Hey, look at that.
There we go, and then you can say ugly duckly. And you could turn back on your canvas and just make sure we're kind of lining up good. And then your canvas is
Oh,
folder
because
may
I
also
hit
be
the
on
entire
there.
canvas folder. No,
Yeah.
that is not quite right, is it? It's down here.
It's close. It's pretty close. It's
Just
about as
drag it
close as
up.
mine is.
Should I leave it where it's at?
I would leave it where it's at. I'm gonna leave mine where it's at.
Okay.
Oh,
I see where yours is, okay.
yeah. Yeah, drawing on top of an image is kind of an imprecise way of doing things, but it'll probably get us close enough that we can laser cut one and figure out what we did wrong, and then go back and make an adjustment. Yeah. Once you've got that last circle drawn there, then we just have to connect them to make this slot. We're going to connect them with lines. So again, I'm going to turn off my canvas just so it's a little bit less cluttered on my screen here.
So you have both circles though?
I do, yeah. I just drew the second circle.
Okay.
Yeah. I just
We're
drew
not-
a,
Should I draw that one? or-
yeah, I would. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you just do that as the center one?
Correct. Yeah. Just centered on that line that we drew. All right. So now to connect those lines, there's a couple ways we can do this. We're going to, in our create menu here, we can grab our line tool. It's really easy to connect, and you can kind of find the tangent point of that second line. We indeed want these to be tangent. So it's not tangent to my first circle, but it's really easy to find where it gives me that snapping point and gives me that little tangent constraint blue icon down there that shows me that I'm tangent, and then I get that little tangent constraint here. And now if we want our circle to be tangent to our line at the other side, we have to add that constraint from the constraints menu. So if we click on constraints and then come down to this tangent constraint, and then I can pick on the line and the circle, and it makes those tangent for me right there. Now, the pro way of doing this, we'll do the pro way for the other side. If we grab our line tool again, before we click and place the first point here, if I hold down the shift key, so I'm holding down my shift key, and now I'm clicking and placing my start point of my line, you can see that while I'm holding my shift key, it forces it to be tangent to that circle. So now I can find that tangent point on the other side, and I'm still holding my shift key. And you can see that I've got two little blue icons at the top and bottom, so I'm going to be tangent to both of those circles when I let go of my shift key here, or click. There we go. And now I don't have to add that tangent after the fact, because holding down that shift key kind of did that for me. That's how the pros do it. Coming from one pro right up here, talking to another pro right down here. Hey man, you got a CAD job, pro. All right, so
Always learning.
right
That's what you taught me.
there you go. All right, I like it. All right, so now let's draw the last little bit of internal geometry that we've got before we tackle the outside. The last little bit of internal geometry is this oval up here at the top. I agree with Mike that this oval should probably be tangent to our pin. So I'm going to make it tangent to our pin. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and grab from our create menu the ellipse tool. The ellipse tool is a fun one to use and can be counterintuitive here. So we want to place our center point. We're just kind of guessing what our center point is. And we can always move it up or down later, but I'm guessing the center point is definitely going to be on the center line that we drew. And the first thing we want to do here is we want to define a width. Let's define a width first. Well, it's pretty close to 25 millimeters. It's also pretty close to 26 millimeters, I guess. I guess I'm going to go with 26 millimeters. Unlike some of the other tools, you hit the enter key to place this dimension. We have to click. So we type in a dimension, and then we click, and then we move our mouse out another way, and here I'm just gonna click on this endpoint of this pin that I've got up here, so I make sure that I'm tangent to that circle. Yeah, that seems pretty close. Who knows what kind of tolerance we need on these kind of things, but we'll find out through trial and error.
Mills.
All right, so this is where we're at with our little drawing here. We've got our oval placed. And now the last and final thing we need to do is just kind of draw the outside part of our foot here. So I'm only going to draw half of it. I'm going to draw the half on this side. And I'm just going to trace over these things with a series of lines and 3-point arcs, I'm imagining. Yeah, I guess 3-point arcs. This part of the foot, I guess the bottom part of the foot makes a difference, what that shape is. But anything in here can be whatever you want it to be. So you could draw a straight line. You can make it a triangle if you wanted to. You wouldn't need to do this fancy bit in here. Yeah, because the pins and slots don't care about all that kind of stuff. So if we just grab our 3-point arc tool and we just kind of start tracing. I'm going to do that a couple of times and kind of vaguely trace the bottom of my foot here. I might do that here at the top as well. Or I guess top and or bottom, however you want to think about this foot. And then I might just get real simple and just connect these things. With a line. Now, it's getting a little close to, like, this diameter was getting a little narrow for my taste. So I expanded my upper curve out just a little bit there. Something like that. That's my shape that I've got drawn there. And now, let me make sure I'm not speeding ahead of anybody here.
You did some mirroring for the top slot and bottom slot?
I did not. There's really only one slot. It's a per foot.
True.
Yeah. That slot that you see there is really the slot on the next foot in. So it's really just this shape that we gotta get going on. Although it is worth noting that this slot distance is probably equal to the oval distance. That this height is probably equal to this height.
Possibly.
So that might be worth noting. Yeah, that those slot distances are equal. Yeah. How you doing, Mike?
Yeah. If I turn off my
Yeah,
canvas, that's.
Nice. Yeah, then you mirrored it over already. Yeah. How we doing?
Three-point arc.
Yeah, so 3-point arc. So
Yeah.
you'll click to place the first point.
Which is,
Yeah, which will be right at that end point of that line.
okay. Alright.
And then you'll click and place the end point, which will be like somewhere over there.
Okay.
So you just click, and then if you move your mouse into the middle, then you get a nice little curve, and then you can kind of define that curve shape.
Is this where you wanna be? Is this right?
Close enough. Yeah, your end point it might be a little off. Your end point is kind of like in the center there, as opposed to off to the side.
Where should that,
Like I
this
put
one should
my,
have been over
I
the
put
line.
my end point like right up in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do I
I think you hit escape.
Alright.
There we go.
You're saying up.
There you go, yeah. Right up in there somewhere. And then if you move your mouse like right in between the two of those and kind of hover over the line, there you go. And then you can just click and place that.
Okay.
And then the next one, your
Am I having to
endpoint is gonna
restart?
be
Okay.
like, yeah.
Am I having to restart the tool?
No, I think you still got it, yeah.
So I just do the, so it's like one here?
Yeah, right, yeah. And then
Oh,
the end point will be like
Have a good night.
there somewhere. There we go. And then I went down and I drew, like, I suppose you could draw a line. I just drew a line that kind of followed that line straight down. Kind of straightish, straight at an angle.
Straight at.
Which is totally a thing. You can have an angled straight line. Right?
Where did you end that?
I just ended it down here-ish somewhere. Again, the geometry on the outside, not that important. You could make it a square top if you wanted to. And then I just drew another 3-point arc to connect them. There we go. Nice. Cool.
Alright, now then what, just hit enter or?
Yeah, well now you're done. Now we can grab the last step. I'm going to turn off my canvas here again. The last step is I'm going to grab the mirror tool here. So I'll grab this mirror and I'll pick on the 3, 4, however many lines or arcs it took me to get around the outside of my shape here as the objects that I'm mirroring. And then my mirror line is going to be that middle line right there. And then I'm going to say okely dokely. So, part of me is wondering if we should have started off by making this a new component. But too late now. All right. So now that we've mirrored that over, I'm going to go ahead and say finish sketch. All right, so let's extrude out some things. So from the create menu, I'm going to come down to this extrude option, and I'm going to pick this outside foot bit here as the item that I'm going to extrude. And I'm going to extrude it I'm going to extrude it symmetrically. So you can extrude it out to one side, and that would look like this, right? If we just extruded it out to one side. I think it's going to be helpful later on to have like a plane that lives right in the middle of everything. And so I'm going to extrude this symmetrically instead of a direction of one side. I'm going to choose a direction of symmetric. And I'm going to make it a 1/4 of an inch. 0.25 inches. And that is going to be the whole length as opposed to the half length, because I'm extruding this symmetrically. That's my whole length there. I may regret that later, but you know, this is what happens when we're flying by the seat of our pants like we are in this class here. We're just winging it. So let's go ahead and extrude out our cam as well. So let's name this body. This body is our, let's call it the foot. Food. Put more O's in there. It's like a whole new language. And let's go ahead and let's extrude out this part of the cam that we've got here. So we'll go ahead and, bless you. We'll click on create and we'll go ahead and choose extrude. And it's just going to be that part, right? Actually, I'm starting to see a lot of distances there.
Symmetrical.
Yeah, so I bet there was supposed to be like a symmetry line here going on, because it makes sense to me that.
My symmetry's all messed up though, and
Yeah.
I'm behind you a little bit because I was
Okay.
trying. The 2-point circle though was helpful. But
Okay.
you're right, the JPEG is just junk to try to
Yeah.
match to this kind of precision.
But it'll get us close-ish. At least we'll start to see.
And then you can start from scratch.
Right. So I'm going to extrude this symmetrically as well. So instead of one side, I'm going to choose symmetric. And it's going to be a whole length of 0.25 inches. Inches. I have to type in inches because I'm drawing it. And this is going to be a new body. We'll worry about tolerance here later. Obviously, these things have way too much friction to move inside of each other right now. And honestly, maybe this should be a bearing surface in here somewhere, but we'll cross that bridge later. Yeah, in my mind, that should be a bearing.
Cam
There should be a
thingy.
bearing.
I think there's 2 circle lines in the middle. One of those could easily be a bearing.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry, this outer part is not, I wasn't able to extrude this.
There's your. Oh, we've got two separate sketches. So we've got a sketch. So here, turn on the visibility on sketch 2 and turn off the visibility on sketch 1 just to see what's on sketch 1. Oh, you're good. Yeah, so now if you go click on create and then extrude.
It wasn't finding this outer, I'm able to find a lot of the
I
others.
wonder if we're not connected down there.
Okay.
So if you click cancel
Oh, this thing's gonna have a camshaft.
and then you
Hey, it is.
right click on sketch 2 and say edit sketch.
All your alternating feet.
And you zoom in down.
Yeah, it's pretty much a camshaft that walks.
Yeah, sort of like connected, so you
Alright,
can
so-
draw a line.
Well,
Or
two
you can just drag that
camshafts.
right over.
I
That's
can drag
it,
it over.
yeah, you just drag right over. There we go.
There we
Now
go.
we're all filled in.
Alright, so finish sketch?
Yep,
do
and you
that?
just say finish sketch.
Alright, and that's a little ugly, but so.
That's alright, I get a little butt down at the bottom of mine too, so.
How far did you, I can.
A
what was the
1/4 of
dis-
an inch.
1/4 of an inch for this one as well?
Yeah, both of them went a 1/4 of an
One
inch.
cam running it up and down, and this other one, that cam is gonna be running it back and forth, I think.
How thick did you make it?
1/4 of an inch.
Point 0.25.
Whole length, you did whole length, right?
I did, yeah, whole length, yeah.
Oh, you extruded middle.
that
It's a
was the
separate
same-
body.
Oh, no.
Yeah, separate body.
When
Gotcha.
this can
Oh, does it say so?
rotates,
Wait,
that's
what?
gonna be
What's
this
wrong?
part.
I must have accidentally not turned that into the.
Pivot off
undo.
that
Alright,
bottom
let's-
slot.
Oh, yeah,
So it's
yeah,
gonna snap
not
in.
picked new body.
Right.
That's what
Yeah,
you're saying,
that's
yeah.
must have been what I did wrong, so.
And that's gonna keep it.
I would choose your
I'm
tool
not
first,
screwed. Yeah.
as a, just a habit,
Alright.
and,
Keep it like.
Limit the
so
thread.
that's right there, so then that shape.
I'd like to see a video of the thing in
Yeah,
motion.
me too.
Well, did you see the bottom of the page?
Pardon?
At the bottom of the
Uh,
web page.
if that
there's
ever
a
happens,
right,
yeah, then you can go ahead and click OK.
animation.
Oh.
If that ever
But
happens
it's
to you in the
slightly
future,
different. They're doing
down here in your
compliant
timeline,
activated
that's kind of
spring
a list of the
that
threads,
goes
so
in.
that very last one that you did, you can right click on it, and you could say edit feature,
Okay.
and then you kind of go back in time to your right, so you could make it a join now, or you could make it a collect, or you could kind of change your
It
mind
moves
about
really
it.
fast.
So what, is this another thing of, cause I'm just noticing there's this little indent.
Yeah, it looks like we're missing our line didn't connect.
Same, I was like, I'm looking at the
So go back to
axle,
the
and I
sketch.
go, yeah, there's gotta be a cam in the middle of that axle
Yeah.
there.
Say edit sketch, and then, if you go up and grab your tangent constraint there,
Which one is
there
this
you
one?
go,
Yeah.
and then you can pick your
Oh, this
line,
one did not.
and your line and your circle.
Pick your line, pick the circle. Did that just do it, or did I undo, it looks like I undid something.
I think the circle moved way up, so now you just
My
gotta
big
click and drag
project
on
today
your-
was the parametric belt loop.
Or, you could, yeah, click and drag
I've
on
been
your
losing
circle and
so
just kinda
much
drag it
weight,
down.
I had to
The
like
circle?
Yeah.
punch like 6 new
Oh.
holes in my belt and it's flapping around. So I did a parametric extra belt
Yeah, I like
loop.
that.
Yeah,
So you measure the width
There
of the
you go.
belt, the thickness of the belt, then it
If
has
you
like
hover over the middle here,
2.5
Over the middle.
thicknesses
if you
for
hover
the
over this area,
internal.
Yeah.
it doesn't highlight them as separate things.
1.05
line
width
Still
for
not.
the
Still not
internal
connected
length.
somehow.
Then it has a
you
thickness
could choose there's a
relative to
constraint
the
here called
belt
coincidence.
thickness, and it has radii
Choose that
proportional to the thickness of everything
go.
else. It's
Now-
all done
It's
parametrically.
connected.
With user-defined parameters.
And then if you
Pardon?
go back to
With the
that,
user-defined
you click
parameters.
Yes.
extrude, and you say.
I was
edit
working
feature.
with those today.
And it printed in 24 minutes.
I'm sorry, I'm taking away.
No, you're good, you're good.
Alright.
Well, it's still not, unconnected.
Alright, I'm not gonna worry about it for now.
Okay, right on.
Thank you, I don't want.
Yep.
It's kindergarten level, but it was a problem. and
All right,
I solved
so-
it With Fusion.
Now, is it okay if we run a few minutes over? You guys good? Okay, cool. So what I'm thinking here is we're gonna duplicate these things. I think I'm gonna try it with a pattern, and then we'll try to rotate some of the pattern around. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose create. And, oh, here, I'm going to name this body. I'm going to be upset. Before you make a pattern, you will want to name your bodies whatever you want to name them. Because after we make a pattern of them, it's going to keep this naming structure. And if you don't have them named right now, you're going to have 4 times as many bodies to name. So I would name these now. You'll be happy with yourself later. Foot and cam. And once you've got them renamed, now we can go ahead and say pattern.
Maybe you change the colors now too.
You could, yeah, that's an option. Yeah, pattern, rectangular pattern. And I'm going to make a pattern of bodies. The object type is bodies. And my axis, it's going to be my red axis for me, my x-axis. So it's the axis that runs normal to the face of the thing here. And again here, I'm going to choose, because I chose to make my extrusion symmetric, I'm going to make my pattern symmetric as well. And I think, so right now the default here, the default distribution of my pattern, so how my pattern is being distributed, is it's taking whatever the distance is, and it's going to put whatever quantity in that distance. I don't think I want to do that for this particular pattern. I think I'd rather choose the spacing between them than the extent. And we can make our spacing like 1/4 of an inch plus like some tolerance. Let's call it, yeah, I was going to call mine 1 millimeter. Maybe 1 millimeter is enough, maybe not.
How many?
I'm going to do 4. We can always add more. That's the beautiful thing about a pattern. When you're making a pattern of bodies, I'm just going to go ahead and say okay here, is it gives us a little icon down here. So if we decide later, like, oh, no, 3 was the right answer, I can go back and edit the pattern. And I could say, oh, no, turns out I wanted to make 3, or oh, no, turns out I wanted to make 5. So we can always add more later, which is great. I'm going to turn off the visibility on my sketch. And now, for my next trick, now that everybody's got a pattern? Cool? Yeah? I'm going to come up to the Modify menu, and I'm going to choose the Move tool. And I'm going to pick every other foot and every other cam. So in fact, maybe the best way to do this is I'm going to turn off the visibility on the cams and the feet that I don't want to move. So if I come over to the side here and I just kind of turn off the visibility on every other cam, every other foot, and the way that I figure out which one it is if I select something on a body here, it'll highlight that body in the bodies folder for me. So because I clicked on this little line here, this part of this body, I can tell what body I need to turn off to make it easier for me. And again, too, the cam here, that's the cam I want to hide. All right, so now it's easy for me to say, all right, now I want to go modify, move copy, and if I pick the cam first, I think it's going to put the widget right in the center of this. Where do I want my center to be, though? I want my center to be on that circle, don't I?
Outside of the cam.
Center of the big hole.
The big hole or the little
Yeah,
hole?
Big hole.
Because it's going to rotate on that, right?
Oh, I thought you were moving the outside.
Yeah, I think the
You want
shaft.
the feet upside down from each other, right?
Yeah, we want to twist it
Yeah.
upside down.
Select the outs of big circle,
Yeah.
but then the small circles won't be aligned, and we'll just have to go back and twist the cams to align all the cams again, and you'll have feet in correct order.
If I
Or
rotate it,
don't rotate cams, only rotate the 2 feet you have.
well, I think I want to rotate the cams and the feet. Yeah. I think that's how here, tell you what, let's go back to this canvas.
Yeah, because this thing you want like all the cams to kind of be offset from each other, so each foot is kind of.
What's the cam shaft gonna look like? A bicycle wheel camshaft kind of thing?
Well, they're each going to be like I would assume they're offset on each other versus this is the center. This is like where our motor goes. It attaches here. And then these things go up and down. And it lifts the foot up and down, right?
Yeah, so then if all your cams are lined up, it'll hop. And if you offset them, then it'll walk.
And
So-
alternating action.
So it needs to,
You almost need an axis line through the small hole for alignment.
yeah, like this is our
Yes.
rotational point here. So now, if we've got them all selected, we can choose the rotate option here in our move tool,
Mm-hmm.
and we can specify an axis that we're rotating these around, which I think is going to be this little.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for showing that.
Yeah, and now I'm pretty sure we just rotate this 180 degrees. And we say OK. And then I can turn on my other bodies here. And that's what we got going on.
Looks short.
It looks, when you look at the website, it looks like they're doing something less than 180, like 170 or 160.
I did mine from Big Circle and it worked.
You did yours from the big circle?
Yep.
Well, your cams don't line up then, though. The middle of that does.
It works.
I did big circle with that.
You Duke Manzi a couple of times here.
Yeah, there's only one single
Yeah, no, and I did the same thing, but look, can you see the website, how they have it offset a little bit? They have them in like a slight,
cam. This
no,
rotated?
they don't have them, they don't have the 180, they have them, that.
I don't know what you're saying.
If I choose,
This is doing-
Or turn on the you can.
I choose this. Yeah, actually,
So you don't, no, you can see it on this side.
that looks more.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna happen with your cam. Each cam.
Yeah, that looks more like it.
That's gonna make the foot move and relative to the,
What it does to same action.
that cam right there controls the movement.
Of all of them.
Unless you made like a solid foot, but you wouldn't wanna do that. You would have to have, the body is probably gonna have to be mounted to this cam also, like in the center of this thing.
How is that cam gonna fight the leg? There's an axle, or there's a bearing between that? Yeah,
So-
bearing.
In my mind, this is the way that the cam looks. Is it looks like that. If I turn off all my feet and have just my cam up there, right?
Uh-huh.
Is that what makes sense in your mind too?
Yep.
I think so.
Um,
But they gotta be more different than that, cause you still got hopping. You don't want any two lobes the same.
oh. Oh, I see what you're
80
saying.
degrees apart, maybe 90 apart.
Right.
Oh. So,
That's like your timing.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly,
timing kind of.
exactly.
I see what you're saying.
So
That's
you
your
could-
coconuts.
So then if we change the diameter of this circle, then that will make you take bigger or smaller steps there, or the distance of that circle from the
Okay.
center. But then you'd have to
Um,
adjust other parts too.
So I wanted to get into joints here, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Because we're still a ways off here. This is why I try to prepare before class. Sorry.
Oh, this is cool, man.
But so we're moving in the right direction here, right? You know, maybe instead of rotating, no, because they should be 2 up and 2 down. It's just they need to get rotated again, right? So now this second foot needs to rotate.
Unless one is for the top and one is for the bottom.
Yeah, one is for the top and one is for the bottom.
So those are opposite of each other.
Yeah, so we just need to do something like this. And if I take this one and we rotate it this way, and then we do that same kind of thing on the next ones. If we rotate this one, I don't know which way it needs to go. This way? Actually, let's go the other way. And we rotate this one in here. Can't see that cam anywhere. See it in there. This one goes that way, like 20 degrees. So they're all staggered.
You know what, Carl? I think we need one of these pieces.
I agree.
We need the can that, these pieces that we drew already, these 2 pieces, we need them so we can go like this and stick a pin through there. And
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, you're right, because we don't have a pin that goes through.
We don't need to rotate
uh,
anything, we need to laser cut these parts out and have a dowel and spin them around in the hands.
I concur.
This
Let's
is
do
a
that.
Very interesting mechanism.
Yeah. Thank you. This is a good opportunity for us to let's pause and let's make a prototype, and then let's come back and figure out what we need to alter, because it will be something, and that is just the nature of the game. So, cool. We will need to connect our cams together, though, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm interested in. How exactly is this connected?
Yeah. What is that? What does that cam connection look like? Yeah.
Because I saw some that they move pretty quick, you know? And if it's too much weight, and it starts.
You have a bearing around that cam. You put a little ball bearing. And
Yeah.
the ball bearing is taking all the load.
Well,
in
the bearing
its
would need to be
rotation.
out here, right?
Yeah, the ball bearing
Yeah.
it would be out there, but the bearing is pushing against the edge of your foot.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's not a lot of room for a bearing in this thickness.
Yeah, and I don't think you want a bearing anyways, because that's gonna be heavy.
You think so? Yeah.
I think
Oh,
you
it would
want
be
two
heavy.
kinds of
Well-
plastic that are nice and slimy.
Okay. Not nylon. You're gonna want not nylon in this
Right,
case.
like Delrin or something.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Delrin stuff.
Or yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
I
have to
have
be-
some of that.
All right. Well, cool. That was fun. We learned some things. Hopefully, we learned how to at least draw on a canvas. So if you've never drawn on a canvas before, now you have. Congratulations. And next week we'll draw more stuff. If it's just the 4 of you again next week, we can make joints. We'll see who shows up. You never know. It's always a mystery here on Model Monday at the Milwaukee Makerspace, and we will see you next week.